Hey everybody, it is Miss Avahart. Today is Saturday, October 10th, 2020, and it is 3:29 p.m. Alright, this video, I'm going to inform you of the announcements of the week. I'm going to go over the answers for the central idea and the structure of a text assignments from last week. I'm going to go over this week's do nows, and I'm going to go over the quiz for this week. All right, first of all, here are your announcements for the week of Monday, October 12th, 2020. On Wednesday, October 12th, excuse me, that's not the right date. It's the 14th. All right, so on Wednesday, October 14th is Parent-Teacher Conference. And Parent-Teacher Conference is being held from 1:30 p.m. till 5:30 p.m. So that's Wednesday, October 14th. It will be a half day. School will be dismissed at 12:15 p.m. So you will only attend your first hour class, second hour class, third hour class, and fourth hour class. Now, I don't know why I put the 12th, but it's supposed to be the 14th. On Wednesday, October 14th, 2020, I will not be present online. So make sure you read the post so you know what will be taking place on Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. I will make sure to post in the chat the day before so you know what will occur on Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. So my absence will only affect second hour and fourth hour. All right, so now you know that. Those are the announcements for the week of Monday, October 12th, 2020. Wednesday, October 14th, 2020 is Parent-Teacher Conference, and it's from 1:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. There is a half day of school. School will be dismissed at 12:15 p.m. So you'll report to your first hour, second hour, third hour, and fourth hour. Teacher absence. I will be absent on Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. Now, I will be present for Parent-Teacher Conference, but I will be absent in the morning portion of the day. So make sure you check the chat to see what you will need to do on Wednesday, October 14, 2020 when I'm not there, when I'm not there. And my absence will only affect second and fourth hour. Okay, so last week we read an informational text entitled 1963, the year that changed everything. Informational text is nonfiction, and the purpose of an informational text is to inform the reader of a certain topic. So I asked you to identify the central idea, and then you had to go back to the text and find textual evidence to prove to me that whatever you said the central idea was, you had to go back to the text and find a sentence from the text to prove that was the central idea, or to prove or to support your central idea. So, in order to find the central idea, you needed to answer this question. Let me move this a little bit more. Okay. So the question was, why did the author write 1963, the year that changed everything? If you could answer that question, then you could identify the central idea. So here is the answer. The central idea was to inform the reader of the events that took place in 1963 in America that affected the civil rights movement. If you had anything similar to this, then you received 5 points. That was the whole point of the author writing 1963, the year that changed everything. It was just to tell the reader what went on in America in 1963. And I said that several times when I was reading the text and I did my instructional video for that particular text. I said it several times. So you had to really pay attention to the video and me teaching in order to know what the central idea was. So the whole point of this person, of the author writing this, 1963, the year that changed everything, the whole point of them writing that informational text was to tell us what happened in America in 1963 that related to Black people and the civil rights. That was it. All right. Now the sentence in the text that proves this was this. It was one sentence in that entire text that told us what that text was about. And it proved that this was the central idea. And this was the answer. This was the sentence right here. A number of major events in this dramatic battle took place in 1963. This was the last sentence in paragraph 1. This was the textual evidence to prove this central idea. A lot of you were giving me actual events. All I wanted was the sentence that told the reader what this entire text was about. And this was it right here. A number of major events in this dramatic battle took place in 1963. So you got 5 points. You received 5 points for identifying the central idea, and then you received 5 points for identifying the one sentence in the text that supported your central idea. And this was the sentence right here. All right, the second assignment was text structure, or the structure of text. That was an assignment. So what I was looking for this assignment was worth 9 points. So here was the question. How did the author write or set up 1963, the year that changed everything, to help the reader understand that 1963 was important? You had to give me 3 ways, 3 specific things that the author did to let you know that 1963 was important. How did the author write this text? What 3 ways did the author use to write this text to make sure you understood how important the year 1963 was? What 3 specific ways did the author use to make sure you, the reader, knew just how important the year 1963 was? Here was the answers I was looking for. Most of you did really well on structure of the text. Now for central idea, most of you identified the central idea, but you did not identify the correct piece of textual evidence. But structure of the text assignment, most of you did very well. So these are the answers that I was looking for. I only needed 3 specific ways that the author used to let you, the reader, know that, hey, 1963 was really important. Here are the answers that I was looking for. Chronological order. Some of you did choose, or you did have this as an answer. Chronological order. The person who wrote this text listed the events in chronological order. They went from April of 1963 to August of 1963. They told it in order. They told the events in order as they happened. Another way was illustration. It was a picture at the top of the page of a young girl who had been sprayed by a fire hose. That was another way that the writer really wanted to drive home in your head that 1963 was important. Let me show you a picture of what was going on in America. So some of you did put illustration. You mentioned the picture of the girl being sprayed by the fire hose. Specific people. A lot of you got that one. The writer gave the names of specific people. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the 4 African American girls who were killed in the church bombing, Medgar Evers. Most of you chose specific people. All right, another way that the author used to make sure you understood that 1963 was important, the author gave you specific dates. For example, May 28th, shouldn't say 1936, it should say 1963, was the date where the college students held a lunch counter protest. So the author gave you specific dates to let you know, hey, this year was really important. It was so important that you should remember this specific date. All right. Another way is specific places. They mentioned the 16th Street Baptist Church. They mentioned, the author mentioned the Lincoln Memorial. So most of you did mention specific places so that you could understand that 1963 was really important by mentioning these specific places. And the last one, now I didn't even teach this in the video, but some of you got it. It's cause and effect. If I want you to remember something, if I want you to know that is really important as a writer, I will do cause and effect. I will say, because this happened, this was the result of that. And so the writer did that. And I think the second to the last paragraph, I'm not quite sure, but in one paragraph, it told us that the March on Washington occurred in 1963. But right after the march, because of the March on Washington, white people got mad. They were upset. And so in Birmingham, Alabama, they bombed the 16th Street Baptist Church. So because of the March on Washington, the effect of the March on Washington was that the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama was bombed. Some of you actually got that. And I didn't even teach that in the instructional video. So good job. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways that the author used to let you know, hey, 1963 was really important. So they set up this text using these 6 ways so that you could understand how important 1963 was. All right, so I went over that. The next thing is I want to go over the do nows for this week. The do nows for Monday, October 12th, 2020. The do nows for the week of Monday, October 12th, 2020 are as follows. Okay, here we are. There were 25 points. And always, because we're talking about civil rights as literature, your questions are related to Black history. So here are the 5 questions. Number 1, what was Black Wall Street? Number 2, what was the Tuskegee experiment? Number 3, what was Black Bottom? Number 4, who was Coleman A. Young? And number 5, who was Malice Green? All right, so those are your do nows for the week of Monday, October 12th, 2020. And the final thing for this particular video is the quiz that you will have this week for the week of Monday, October 12th, 2020. All right, here's the quiz. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to read it, and then you're on your own to complete it this coming week. Okay, so here are the directions. Read each question or statement carefully. Use class notes for the week of Monday, September 28th, 2020 to help you answer each question. Now, those notes will be attached to this assignment. Just in case you don't know how to go back in Teams and look under the tab that says completed work and find your class notes. I'll just reattach it to this assignment. So in order to do your quiz, you must use the notes for the week of Monday, September 28th, 2020 to help you answer each question. Now, some questions will have more than one correct answer. So don't rush through this. Okay? So, question number 1. Number 1, what is a baseline assessment? That's 5 points. Give an example of a baseline assessment. That's another 5 points. Number 2, what is annotation? That is 5 points. All right, number 3, read the following paragraph. There are millions and millions of sites on the internet. How does a search engine know which ones are relevant to your search? This is a question that great minds have been working on for decades. To understand how Google changed the game, you need to know how search engines worked in 1998. Back then, most websites looked at the words in your query. They counted how many times those words appeared on each page. Then they might return pages where the words in your query appeared the most. This system did not work well, and people often had to click through pages and pages of results to find what they wanted. Query. It is query, people. So let me read it again, pronouncing that word correctly, query. All right. Matter of fact, while I'm here, because I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing that word correctly. Query is query. Okay. There are millions and millions of sites on the internet. How does a search engine know which ones are relevant to your search? This is a question that great minds have been working on for decades. To understand how Google changed the game, you need to know how search engines worked in 1998. Back then, most websites looked at the words in your oh my goodness. I'm tongue tied. Oh my goodness. Query. Back then, most websites looked at the words in your query. They counted how many times those words appeared on each page. Then they might return pages where the words in your query appeared the most. This system did not work well, and people often had to click through pages and pages of results to find what they wanted. All right, query. I had to read it again and make sure I gave you the correct pronunciation. Query. All right. So that's the paragraph. So here's the question. For number 3, I need you to tell me what the central idea of this paragraph is. That's 5 points. What is this paragraph about? Now, the second part is the text supports the central idea when it states, find the sentence. There is a sentence that tells you exactly what this paragraph is about. I want you to type it word for word right here. Okay? So that's number 3. Number 4, what is an informational text? That's 5 points. Number 5 is multiple choice. It will have A, B, C, D, E. It won't have 1, 2, 3, 4. So, number 5, which is an example of an informational text? Choose carefully. This is worth 10 points. So here are your choices. Green eggs and ham, the cat in the hat, I have a dream speech, 1963, the year that changed everything. All right, so I gave you the announcements for this week. I went over the answers to the 2 assignments that I assigned last week, which was central idea and structure of a text. I went over the do nows for this week, the week of Monday, October 12th, 2020, and I went over the quiz for this week, the week of Monday, October 12th, 2020. Okay, I will talk to you on the next video.